Order at 4:02 p.m. Can we do roll call attendance, please?
Yes, and I think it might announce I'm going to start the recording.
Recording in progress.
Okay, now I will do the roll call. First, we have Chair Carter.
Here.
Vice Chair Bluth.
Here.
Committee Member Hunter.
Present.
Committee Member Ostovar.
Here.
And Committee Member Polly is absent. And both Committee Member Schmidt and Committee Member Tregenza both let us know prior that they would be missing the meeting. So today we have Chair Carter, Vice Chair Bluth, Committee Member Hunter, and Committee Member Ostovar. And for staff, we have Principal Planner Fernanda Roveri and myself, Recording Secretary Jennifer Cleary.
Excellent. So we do have quorum today. So we will move on. We're going to open the consent agenda. And on the consent agenda, we have the minutes from June 2nd. Is there anybody who would like to discuss items on the consent agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
Okay, I move that we approve the consent agenda, including the minutes from the June 2nd meeting.
Great, thank you.
Jennifer, could you let the public know how they can participate?
Definitely. Members of the public are encouraged to join our meetings via Zoom Gov, a secure service that connects you live with no lag time. This meeting is also streamed live on youtube.com/City of Monterey with a 10-second delay and Comcast channel 25 with up to 90-second delay. If you would like to provide public comment, please join the meeting using Zoom or by telephone, making sure to join in time to accommodate delays. To join the meeting, as the Zoom meeting from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers listed on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. Since the meeting has started, you'll find the agenda under the Recent tab. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864 toll free, dial or 669-254-5252 or 646-828-7666. Then enter the webinar ID. If the first number does not work for you, please try another listed again on the meeting agenda. The ARC webinar for this webinar ID for this meeting is 161-914-9563. Once again, this meeting's webinar ID is 161-914-9563. If prompted for a participant ID, press pound. Detailed instructions for using Zoom are available at monterey.org/public meeting. To provide public comment once you are in the Zoom meeting, use the raise your hand function in Zoom at the bottom of the screen. If you are providing public comment by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. Public commenters calling in by phone will be announced using the last 3 phone number digits on their name or their name typed into Zoom. Public commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak. Please turn off TV or computer speakers or go into another room when connected by phone, as background noise interferes with the broadcast. Finally, public speakers will be called upon in order of their hands raised. The chair has designated a 3-minute time limit for today's meeting. And that is how you join. That's the end of my spiel. Back to you, please, Chair. Or actually, I heard a first on the minutes. Nobody
need a second.
I do need a second. And if somebody calls in or raises their hand, we have one attendee, but their hand is not raised. So I do not believe they wish to speak right now. So in the meantime, do I have a second?
Fernanda, I wasn't at the June 2nd meeting. Can I second it or vote on it?
It's recommended that you abstain since you weren't there,
I guess we won't have a quorum then.
right?
Vote on the minutes. Do you know how that works, Fernanda?
I do believe that if you had watched the meeting, you would be able to vote. So if you, for instance, saw it after we aired it, I believe you would still be able to vote.
Well, I did that. It was my birthday, so I took the day off.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, on the 2nd. So, well then I'll second it, and because I did watch it on video
Okay,
afterwards.
Just to clarify as well, I think I abstained because of a conflict. I'm trying to remember that date.
Did you abstain on the item?
Yes. So I think I was in attendance and then left for the item, but I did watch.
You mean you recused?
Recused, yes, thank you. Is that correct? I'm trying to remember that date. It was a while ago.
It was
Yeah.
a while ago.
yes, you recused yourself for the 747 Fillmore item, but you were here for the remainder of the meeting.
The earlier portion, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I can second.
Wait, did Vice Chair Bluth already second?
I did, but I'm happy to let
Right.
Aaron do it.
I'm happy for you too. Thank you.
Okay, so I have Committee Member Hunter as the first and second is Vice Chair Bluth. And for the vote, Chair Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bluth,
Aye.
Committee Member Hunter,
Aye.
Committee Member Ostovar,
Aye.
and Committee Members Polly, Schmidt, and Tregenza are all still absent. So those minutes are approved.
Excellent. Thank you all for getting all the clarification on that. Next, we're going to open public comments to items not on the agenda today. We will ask people to state their name for the record if they would like to speak to our committee. And do we have any, Jennifer?
We do not currently have any members, any attendees raising their hand. Just a quick reminder to join the Zoom meeting from a computer or phone, please use the link or phone numbers posted on the agenda at isearchmonterey.org. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864, toll free, then enter the webinar ID. If that first number does not work for you, there are others posted on the agenda at isearchmonterey.org. This meeting's webinar ID is 161-914-9563. If prompted to enter a participant ID, press pound. If you are in Zoom already and would like to raise your hand, there is a button for that. You can raise your hand in Zoom. If you're providing public comment by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute yourself. And again, I see one attendee, but their hand is not raised. So I will recommend moving on to the next topic.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. If we get public comments, we'll be more than happy to take them. We are going to open the first public appearance item at this time. It is consider 693 Del Monte Avenue at the corner of Figueroa and Del Monte, APN 001702013000, and a city right-of-way at the corner of Washington Street and Del Monte Avenue. Sign permit application SI-21-0072 for 2 vehicle-oriented freestanding temporary event signs to be rotated on an as-needed basis. Is there a staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chair Carter. This is Fernanda Roveri, Principal Planner for the City of Monterey, and I will begin sharing my screen. So like Chair Carter said, we are looking at 2 different locations for 2 vehicle-oriented freestanding temporary event signs. Staff recommendation is to approve the sign permit to allow these event signs to be rotated on an as-needed basis. The first location is 693 Del Monte Avenue at the corner of Figueroa and Del Monte. And there's an existing sign there intended to be visible by vehicles passing by. And on the right side of the screen is a photo of that existing sign. And it says Old Fisherman's Wharf and Monterey Harbor. The second location is also an existing vehicle-oriented sign at the corner of Washington, Del Monte, and Lighthouse. And it's located in the city right-of-way. It's not on any parcel, but it is adjacent to a city-owned parcel, which you can see here, which is the triangle outlined in blue. And the sign looks like the image on the right. It says, "Enter here, historic Monterey waterfront parking." And it has additional wayfinding signage on the right. The applicant has proposed temporary event signs to be added to these 2 signs in order to advertise the different events that happen at Fisherman's Wharf during the year. And so for the first sign location at 693 Del Monte, the applicant would like to install a rigid sign placard, which you can see here in red. It says, "Welcome race fans." And this sign placard is 12.8 square feet, made by dye bond, 1/4 of an inch thick, which is 2 aluminum faces sandwiched between, or basically the interior is made of ethylene, sandwiched between 2 aluminum sheets. And then it would be a 2-sided graphic attached with an L bracket to the existing sign, as you can see in this photo. And the messaging would change throughout the year. And the second location, again, is on the city right-of-way at the corner of Washington and Del Monte and Lighthouse. And this would also be a rigid sign placard, which you can see at the bottom of the sign. 9.2 square feet, made by the same type of material, but only a 1-sided graphic facing Del Monte Avenue and attached with mounting panels to the existing sign. And this sign, because it is located in the city right-of-way, it requires a sign encroachment permit. And in order to approve these signs, the AARC must approve the sign findings. The first one being that the proposal achieves the purposes and objectives of the sign ordinance. And staff finds that it does because it prevents placement of additional freestanding signs at additional locations. So by allowing these signs to be placed within these existing signs, you're eliminating additional signage somewhere else. Also, this is an effective use of signs to communicate special events at the wharf. The proposal is consistent with all applicable sign guidelines. And the sign placards would be placed within existing sign envelopes. And so that minimizes sign area. And again, you are preventing the placement of additional signs at additional locations. So these signs would better achieve the purposes and objectives of the sign ordinance and sign guidelines. Third, the proposal is consistent with any other adopted land use document. The document that applies here is the waterfront master plan. And the sign placards design and scale are compatible with the design character of the waterfront, in that the signs are colorful and their purpose is to advertise waterfront events. And again, the sign placards would not detract from Monterey's scenic qualities because they would be placed within existing signage. And these are the sign encroachment findings. Due to special circumstances with the site, basically the location of Fisherman's Wharf, strict application of the sign regulations would deprive Fisherman's Wharf from posting signage for public view. So the location of Fisherman's Wharf is special in that it doesn't really face a street. It's tucked in next to the water and next to state property, the Custom House Plaza. And so by not allowing a sign encroachment, the Fisherman's Wharf is unable to advertise to the public and to vehicles traveling on Del Monte Avenue. And so this proposal would allow Fisherman's Wharf Association to advertise special events to the public. The proposal will not constitute a grant of special privileges because, again, because of the special circumstance, the location of Fisherman's Wharf. And then, again, the applicant does not have the ability to post the sign on private property and be effective at advertising to the general public. So this is, again, the reason that a sign encroachment permit should be granted. There are additional conditions that apply to sign encroachment permits. One being that the ARC has conducted design review, which is happening right now. Second being that the traffic engineer review the signage for traffic and safety hazards. And that can happen when the applicant applies for a sign encroachment permit through the building division. And then the sign is in compliance with the sign ordinance and sign guidelines, as I stated earlier. And so the two conditions, the special conditions here is that prior to sign installation, the applicant receive a sign encroachment permit from the building division for the sign located on city right-of-way, at which time the traffic engineer will review the sign for traffic and safety hazards. And then in the event that one or more of the conditions is violated, we reserve the right to revoke the permit after giving the permittee an opportunity to present a response. So these are just standard conditions in the city code for sign encroachment permits. That concludes staff presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Also, the applicant is here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Fernanda. Does anybody have any questions?
I had a couple basic questions.
Go ahead.
It looks like we have 2 sample signs. Do we know just approximately how many events we'd expect to see, and how many different signs we might have? I know it's to be determined in some instances, but some approximate number of changes or number of events would be nice to know.
I can let the applicant answer that question if he's able.
Yes. Well, thank you for the question. It was asked earlier on in this project about a year ago. It seems it's taken this a while to get this moving, but I understand those problems. We just currently are trying to figure out how many events, but for this year, we are going to do 3 more events. We'll probably do the welcome race fans, the Halloween sign, and Christmas on the wharf. These will only be put up the weekend of these events, and most of the events are either a single day or 2 days. We plan on putting them up basically on a Friday and taking them down on Sunday. And none of these will have dates on them. They're just going to be beautiful graphics that alert people that there is a wharf back there, and this is where that event's going to be. I really like the way you guys have approached this, and understand that the way I do. We've been working with the wharf for 25 years and trying to figure out a way to market events there without too much ado. The city was nice enough to help with the installation of the parking one at Washington Street, which really gave a lot more credence to the parking area and to the wharf. That it really helped them out. That was a 2-year project, and I think it turned out nice. But even the city realizes that after making a sign that was a perfect size, made it 80% smaller, they wish they had kept it the size it was, because it is, as you're speeding by, it is a little difficult to pick up. These signs are going to be, lettering is going to be big and bold enough, but within the graphic standards that the wharf has with events, so that there'll be, somebody driving by will see Whale Fest this weekend. There's no dates on it or anything like that, so it's not, they're completely reusable. We'll never stick one up that isn't been run through the city. We still don't have an actual accounting of what signs and what events they're going to do. I've been meeting with them. I think that this year with the race and Halloween and Mother's Day, Father's Day, all those events are over with. But I think probably 4 different signs this year. We are shooting for 12 events from now until this time next year, which will be about 4 this year and another 6 or so by this time next year. So I'd say no more than 12 events would be signed on there for no more than 2 days each. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
I have a question for you. Have you figured out who is going to design and make your signs?
Well, I designed all those signs there anyway, the wharf, over the years. I'm a designer at the Wecker Group and owner. We designed most of the great signs in the city, by the way, for the Portola Hotel and big hotels, restaurants, etc. So very familiar with the look and feel of this city. I think the stuff that we've done over the years has really improved some of the eyesores that have been here before. I will be designing them. The 2 I put on as samples were put together just to show what, there were just 2 events we were hoping to do. But the information on them will just be minimal and within character. We just did a kiosk that goes in the kiosk stanchion that's right in front of the wharf. And I think between now and next year, we went beyond that with this stanchion, so we don't have to change it out. I think we have 12 events on there rather than the 10, but by this time next year, we'll have had 10 events. But yeah, I will be designing all of them.
Great, thank you.
Chair Carter, one of our staff members is here, Jana Aldredi from City of Monterey Property Management. She would like to also chime in about this application.
Sure, of course. Thanks for joining us, Jana.
Thanks for having me. Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to clarify, I think, with Mr. Wecker. So the interchangeable sign will only be up 2 days per event?
Yes.
Okay. And then I guess I just have a question for Fernanda. Is that in the resolution? Is that addressed in the resolution? Is
No, that would have to be added as a condition.
Okay. And that's up to the committee. It was a question that I was curious about.
Yes, that could be added to the motion by the committee.
Are there any other questions for Fernanda or our applicant? Okay, we'll go to committee member comments. Just kidding, we'll go to public comments. Do we have anybody from the public who would like to join us and speak?
We do still have just one attendee and their hands are not raised, but I will announce again how to call in and join for public comment. You can join the Zoom meeting from your computer or phone using the link or phone numbers provided on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. This meeting will be under the recent tabs as it has already started. The telephone number you can use to join is 833-568-8864. Once again, 833-568-8864. That is a toll-free number. If that one does not work, there are others on the agenda at iSearch Monterey that should work. Once you are in, type in the webinar ID, which for this meeting is 161-914-9563. One more time, 161-914-9563. If you are in Zoom if you are in the Zoom app, there is a raise your hand function you can use to let us know you would like to comment. If you are phoning in to provide public comment, you can dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute yourself. And I see no hands raised, so if that changes, I will let you know.
Thank you. If we have no public comments at this time, we'll go on to committee member comments. And if we do have members of the public that would like to speak, we'll take their comments.
I like the signs. I think the two signs that the wharf has there are outstanding. They're beautiful construction and perform their function really well. And I think using the existing sign to highlight activities at the wharf makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I think I do like the signs. They feel like a piece of Monterey in a sense, part of its identity. And I very much like that they are contained. These additions are contained within the sign itself. I think that helps a lot. However, I think it is still adding words to the space that you're seeing. So I do think it makes sense to make it conditional that they're up for only a short period of time.
I don't need to add any more comments, I don't think, on this one. Is there a motion?
I'll do the motion if you want.
Sure, yeah.
I make a motion to approve sign permit application SI 210072 for 693 Del Monte Avenue at the corner of Figueroa Street and Del Monte Avenue, APN 001702013000, and the city right away at the corner of Washington Street and Del Monte Avenue, adjacent to APN 001567012000, with special conditions that the permit be requested and approved by the traffic engineer, that the city can revoke the permit if rules are violated, and that the event sign should be up for no more than 2 consecutive days.
Can I add a addendum to that? If an event is a 3-day event, which the Whale Fest possibly is going to be in January. No, it's going to be March of next year. Could we keep it up for 3 days?
Sure, how about we just say not to exceed 3 days?
Yeah. Most events are a day and it would only be up for that day.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great. Is there any further discussion about the motion?
I would like to just make sure that I'm recapturing the
Yes, that would
complete
be great.
motion. That was kind of a long one. So I have what you read verbatim, but just what I need is the added condition. So I have the original motion, which is basically almost the title. It ends in APN 00156701200 with special conditions that the permit be requested and approved by the traffic engineer, that the city can revoke the permit if I missed a little gap in there. And then and the last one is that the event signage should not be up for longer than 4 days.
It would be 3 days.
I thought not to exceed 4 days, I thought is what not to exceed. I get that. Okay.
Yeah, not to exceed 3 days, because I think
Consecutive,
Robert
right?
was saying that 3 days would be the maximum.
Yes.
And then maybe Fernanda could clarify, but I think we wanted to say that the permit could be revoked by the city if conditions of the approval are violated.
And it
Yes,
was
that is correct.
it was 3 consecutive days, right, Bob?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not just any old 3 days in the month.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I just have one little edit. Okay, I have it, I think. Let me just read it for clarification so we're all on the same page. So I have that motion with special conditions that the permit be requested and approved by the traffic engineer, that the city can revoke the permit if conditions of approval are violated, and that the posted event signage should not exceed 3 consecutive days.
that's it.
And you got all the
Perfect.
numbers too?
I think so. Not to exceed 3 days was the big important one, I think, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
meant the sign number, the APN numbers.
Oh yeah, I didn't read them, but I copied them straight from the title.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer.
Of
Can we
course,
do a roll call vote, please?
definitely. For the first, I had Vice Chair Bluth, and for the second, I had Committee Member Hunter. And for the roll call, we have Chair Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bluth,
Aye.
Committee Member Hunter,
Aye.
Committee Member Ostavar,
Aye.
thank you, and Committee Members Polly, Schmidt, and Tregenza are still absent. So this motion passed with the 4 votes.
Great. You have your sign application permit, and this can be appealed to the Planning Commission within 10 days. So
You guys will be sending me something in the mail about this or emailing me?
Yes, we will email you the adopted resolution.
Okay, and then one more question, if you don't mind. The sign encroachment permit, is that a fee, another fee we need to pay? Have
That
the
is,
engineer come and look at it?
yes, there is a fee associated with it at the building division. I can let you know what it is through an email.
Yes, that would be
That
fine.
works.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
thank you, Mr. Wicker.
Thank you all. A very good job. Thank you. I will sign off.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Next, we are going to move on to our second public appearance item, which is consider 529 Pine Street architecture review application and setback variation request ARP 21-0080 to reduce the front yard first story deck setback from 9 to 5 feet, 8.5 inches from the front property line. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, thank you. Again, I'll be presenting this one. So let me share my screen. Okay. So a little bit of background. This property, 529 Pine Street, is in the New Monterey neighborhood, and it contains a one-story single-family dwelling. And the zoning is R15, and it has low-density residential land use. So in 2019, in June, planning staff approved a permit for exterior alterations for this property, including the rebuilding of the front deck. And the applicant, as they started rebuilding the front deck, they decided that they wanted to change its appearance a little bit. And I'll explain that later. So the minimum front yard setback is 15 feet for properties in the R1 district. But first story decks are allowed to project 6 feet into this front yard setback. So technically, first story decks can be as close as 9 feet to the front property line. The existing front yard setback at this property is 5 feet, 8.5 inches, which is non-conforming because the requirement is 9 feet. And however, staff surveyed the immediate area, and it contains buildings that have smaller setbacks than the 15-foot requirement. So the area has buildings that are closer than that minimum setback. So this 529 Pine Street is not unique in this case. And so this is what the applicant would like to do. While they were reconstructing their first story deck, they realized that they wanted to make it a full width deck to match the width of the building. And so here you can see on the left and right sides of the deck, there are portions that are missing. It's stepped back. And so the applicant would like to bring those portions forward to make a seamless line at 5 feet, 8.5 inches from the front property line. So this requires a setback variation because this would bring those portions of the deck closer than the required 9-foot setback to match the rest of the deck. And this is a survey by a licensed surveyor of the property. The surveyor mapped the deck, and he found that it's, again, that 5 feet, 8.5 inches away from the front property line. And so for the ARC to approve a setback variation, there are specific findings that need to be made. Basically, that the variation will not compromise privacy expectations on adjacent properties, and that the variation is minimal and necessary to achieve conformity with the following: the adopted neighborhood design guidelines, which in New Monterey, the New Monterey design guidelines encourage development that is compatible with the R1 zone. And the setback variation would be minimal and would create a full width rectangular deck, which would be compatible with the existing built environment in New Monterey. And then also that we need to look at design considerations for substandard lots. However, this lot is not substandard, so this wouldn't apply. And then view impact policies The setback variation is not necessary to achieve conformity with view impact policies. So this really doesn't apply. And furthermore, the variation does not compromise privacy expectations because the deck expansion would be negligible. And then tree protection standards do not apply here. And then for approving the expansion of the deck, the AR findings apply. So one of them being that the proposed siding, form, mass, and architectural style are appropriate. And they are in that they are essentially not changing. The deck extension is very minimal. And the extension would be up to that 5 feet, 8.5 inch distance. Number two, that the project will not unreasonably impair views, privacy, or living environment, and that they would essentially not be changing. The project is also consistent with the Monterey General Plan, as well as New Monterey Area Plan, in that the improvements are of single-family residential character and they're compatible with the neighborhood. Lastly, the exterior finishes and features are appropriate in that they are of single-family residential character and compatible with other construction in the area. The deck would be made of wood and it would be left a natural wood color. And so the recommendation here is that ARC approve the architectural review permit and setback variation for the deck. And that concludes my presentation. The applicant is here. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you, Fernanda. Does anybody have any questions for her? Okay.
I have one. Fernanda, have you received any comments from neighbors in the area about this proposed exterior change and the effect of neighbors that they may experience or have reservations about for the expansion of the deck?
I have not received any comments at all, and the planning office has not received any either.
Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Hi, my name is Libby Barnes. Can you hear me okay? I'm here with my client, Steve Belay, and I don't have any further comments. I think Fernanda did a good job at presenting. And just to emphasize, we're not pushing forward into the setback or to beyond the existing face of the deck. It's just filling in those sides. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. But I think Fernanda did a good job with making that clear. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Sort of a quick curiosity question. Do you have any understanding of the history of why those notches were there?
I don't, and the Steve is shaking his head. He doesn't understand why either.
Okay. If there aren't any other questions, we'll go to public comment. It looks like we have one.
I see a raised hand.
I do see a raised hand. I do want to just quickly announce the method to join in case somebody else does want to comment on this, and then I will get to this this hand raised right here. So very quickly, to join the Zoom meeting from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers listed on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. The phone number for this meeting is 833-568-8864. That is a toll-free number. You might need a webinar ID to join. This webinar ID is 161-914-9563. Once again, 161-914-9563. And I see one person has already done it, but to raise your hand, there is a raise your hand button in Zoom. If you're providing public comment by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute yourself when called upon. And there will be a 3-minute timer on the screen, which I did not yet pull up. And first off, I have this attendee, MWN. I will ask you to unmute now.
Hello, this is Martha and Steve. We live next door to Steve. Hi, Steve. Just wanted to comment that that we don't have any issue with this from a privacy standpoint. We're right next to them. We probably are impacted more than anybody else and don't see a problem with it. So we're fine.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you so much. And just for clarification, can you please repeat your name?
My name is Martha and I have Steve with me as well. My husband, last name is Nelson.
We're at 515 Pine.
Thank you so much. And that is all from me.
Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening.
Sure.
Okay, if we don't have any other public commenters, then we will close public comments and open it up for committee member comments.
I do not see any other hands raised, so go ahead.
Thank you.
I'll just add that not only does this appear to be minimally impactful, it's a very minor change, but I think it's a rather strong improvement. I think it leaves the chance that this porch or patio will be used, which is an extremely positive thing for neighborhoods. So I think the fact that it's increasing the probability of use is extremely positive for the neighborhood.
I'll concur with that. I think it's a small impact on the overall setback that is already there as it is, and I think it's a good improvement on the appearance of the porch. Having it span across the front of the house.
I appreciate that your neighbors called in to support. That was good. Okay, if there are no other comments, then I'll call for a motion.
All right, I'll move that we approve architectural review application and setback variation request ARP-21-0080 to reduce the front yard first story deck setback from 9 feet to 5 feet 8.5 inches from the property line at 529 Pine Street.
Excellent. Did you get all that, Jennifer? Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and then for the vote, we have Chair Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bluth,
Aye.
Committee Member Hunter,
Aye.
Committee Member Ostavar,
Aye.
and Committee Members Polly, Schmidt, and Tregenza are still absent. And just to confirm, there were no special conditions on that? Great, sounds good. That motion is passed as submitted then, approved.
Great, congratulations. You have your permit and now you get to use your porch, which is really exciting. This resolution can be appealed to the Planning Commission within 10 days. So we'll have to come by and check it out when it's done.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Are there any other committee member comments tonight?
I'll pass on congratulations to Fernanda getting promoted.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have been going to farmers market and it is so awesome. If you guys haven't been back since COVID, it's great. So I would, and you can support local businesses and it's just really fun. So are there any other informal staff reports?
Just that next meeting, we have an item scheduled for, the address is 552 Webster Street, and it was, or it still is a gymnasium, but they want to replace it and make it a little bigger. And so that will require ARC approval at the next meeting.
Excellent. Okay, if we have nothing else, then we will adjourn our meeting at 4:53. Thank you all.